more about InvestFest later, but ASML faces some stiff competition when it comes to China. So what is the deal with that? Mike, can we update the topics to ASML? Thank you.
All right. So there's a couple things here. Competition, I think yes. Long term, that is competition. What has happened? So the Chinese state backed the company. They've decided that they're going to produce their own DUV. Now, this is important to distinguish the two, right? They are making their own DUV machine, this lithography machine. Why is that important? Well, ASML is predominantly the largest world maker in the DUV machine, but they're the only maker of the EUV machine, which is very important to understand. Why is that important? Well, the distinction is in terms of what they can produce. And so think of the DUV machine when we talk about nanometers, like how much this wafer can hold or how the size of it. You're talking about between 148 nanometers to about 193, okay? An EUV machine, which is what TSM is using, which is what Nvidia is using, they can go down to a 13 nanometer, right? So when you're talking about compact size and efficiency, the EUV machine is the one. Now, why is that important? Because that machine costs between $150 to $400 million per machine. Per machine. Think about that. Right? So now, how many machines is China being built? And we talked about this the other day. Remember, maybe a year ago, we said there was some Chinese, quote unquote, allegedly, shout out to Kobe. Allegedly, spies that were in the Netherlands trying to figure out the trade secrets of how to build this machine. Well, maybe they have, but they didn't get the EUV. They got the DUV. That's important because China has about five of those DUV machines that'll be online by the end of this year. By the end of 2027, they're saying that they should have 20. Right. So from a technological standpoint, that's an older model to where we're going with advanced chips, specifically GPUs and now the CPUs. The EUV machines, ASML has 250 of those that are systems that are running right now in the world. TSM owns over 100 plus of them. So when we're talking about manufacturing large scale, high bandwidth memory put onto a GPU, TSM is going to be the manufacturing partner as of now. And we'll talk about maybe a little bit more with some of the competition aside there. Samsung is number 2, but there's a distinction. So from a short-term standpoint, it feels like, oh my gosh, here comes a competitor. But again, technologically, it's not in the same realm just yet. Long-term, now, if they can figure out hey, we're going to build our capacity with the DUV machines, that's great. They'll be able to build some compute, that's great. They won't need TSM as much, great. Guess what the world is using, right? They're using the highest form of semiconductor, which is still being produced by TSM, being manufactured by TSM, and being created by Nvidia and all the other semiconductors in the world, AMD. So that's important. Now, does it hurt ASML? Yeah, because on top of it, like the DUV machines, because they weren't able to sell the EUV to China, they started selling those. They started selling the DUVs. And so if they make their own, will you lose some of the profit from China? Yeah, absolutely. But long term, they're looking at it, hey, our biggest money maker and where the future is going to be in the EUV machine, the lithography machine. So if that starts to get cannibalized and we start to see companies make that, because right now literally, this is a monopoly. They're the only company in the world that makes that machine, then we have a bigger story.
Yeah, I think it's one thing we have to remember. Because China is a better manufacturer and they have better tech than us, this is the attempted gathering of the final Infinity Stone. China want to make sure that it's independent and not reliant upon us. So this is a big geopolitical issue. I know everyone says Micron now has a rival. CXMT went up 400% in one day, yada, yada. Those are all headlines that sound great. But the underlying story is the spend, and the first company in America that tells you what the spend is, because now Nvidia isn't the sexy story anymore. I think there's going to be a stable option. And we're even seeing a rotation heavily into Apple for underspend, because now it's almost like an index plus or ETF plus as a safety yield play. I do think at some point China is going to nail one of these issues, but I don't think it's been done yet. A lot of the market being drugged down is because of the reckless spending, even though it's good debt for all my good debt pioneers who nailed that into the floor every time you can. It's going to bring the market down. I think August and September may be a little bit rough, but this is not the time to rotate out of the companies that are going to change your life. It'll be a massive mistake if you do. And earlier, somebody asked a question. You discourage people from weekly and monthly sector rotation, but how do you reconcile that with the idea that there are companies that are going generational runs? I'm going to say it again. If you can't hold a great company for a generation, you don't deserve generational wealth. A lot of these companies that went on generational runs are now down 40 and 50%. And most people did not get in at the bottom. They start getting in towards the top and now they're bleeding down. It is very difficult, even with AI, even with being a good technical trader, to catch a lot of these bottoms. So if you're rotating out of one thing into another, and that's why a lot of times when I say something, people, I'll be like, hey, fire Tim Cook. This was 2 years ago, Apple, not now. But hold the stock. Some people be like, no, well, you said Apple's going to fall. That's because you weren't holding it for a long time and you weren't listening. So you can't rotate on a weekly or monthly basis because you don't have the skill set or the technology to do it for you fast enough. Because even if you try to automate it, there's a lot of slippage regardless of what broker you use. So hold for the long term. Great question.
I called him earlier today. I got some words for Tim Cook and the team at Apple. I got a few words. And when we get to that China chip market surge, I got some words for them. But good point.
You ain't went through that, so you won't have to go through that.
No, not that type of smoke. Not that type of smoke.
Okay.
No. Of course, not that type of smoke.
Okay.
Some intellectual smoke.
Gotcha.
But the somebody brought a point in the chat. It said that TSM has said, you know what, we're going to try to shy away from the ASML machines because they do cost a lot. And so you start to think, who becomes your customer base if the largest manufacturing packaging company decides to shy away? That is potentially be a problem for ASML, which is not an American company. So we'll see. We got to watch that carefully. The China news is news. The TSM news would be more important to me because that's the customer that's buying in bulk, right? You're talking about 150 million per machine, and they have over 100 plus. Samsung is number 2, but not even in the realm of where TSM is at. That is concerning. If you lose that customer, all right, we got to make a call to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. The moment has come.
Wait, really quick. Let me squeeze this one in, then you can go, my brother. My apologies, floppy. To the person who asks, what percentage of bonds should you have in your portfolio if you're under 35? None.
Zero play.
I've been telling y'all since 2020, the bond market has been eroding. The institutional investors don't even want bonds anymore. If you trade UB or ZB, shout out to y'all in Red Panda. The bond market has been in perpetual free fall for 5 years. And shout out to Ben Carlson, shout out to Josh, shout out to Atlas Berry, shout out to Michael Burry. Everyone I talk to give me pieces of the real answer. I have not gotten a real answer to why the bond market has been free falling for 5. I always like to go back to this. Rashad, if I met you in 2010, I told you, for 5 years, the bond market is going to fall flat. You're a fucking scam artist. And here we are. If tech was in free fall, if QQQ was in a negative drawdown for 5 years, y'all would be trying to find me in Houston. I don't know what the contagion event is, but no, you don't want exposure. Maybe when you're older, and if you can get a select product from UBS that guarantees a return on investment, if you're a high net worth investor, go for it. But no, zero. Back to you, Rashad. My apologies.
2010. That's the Colorado era.
That's a fact.
For sure. For sure. Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up, man?
Okay.
How you feeling?
Public service announcement.
Let's
get in.
Let's get into
this.
Oh, we almost at 45 minutes anyway. Go ahead.